Meghan Markle thought she was preparing the recipe for a comeback. But instead of a sweet victory, what came out of the oven was more like burnt toast than a gourmet tart. Her Netflix project, With Love, Meghan, was supposed to be a cozy, lifestyle-inspired series that blended charm with Duchess appeal. But instead, it fizzled out in spectacular fashion. On paper, the idea seemed foolproof. A global celebrity, elegant aesthetics, a mix of lifestyle tips, and that irresistible royal intrigue. Yet within just 5 days, it was clear. Almost nobody was tuning in. The numbers painted a brutal picture. On launch day, it barely managed to land at 73 on the global charts. By the 5th day, it had sunk to 127. And we're still, outside of a fleeting appearance on Australia's list and a blip in Sri Lanka, the show barely made noise on any international rankings. No US top 10, no UK chatter, no trends, no buzz. Not even the usual hate-watching crowd showed up. It simply faded. And that silence was deafening. For Meghan, it signaled something far harsher than criticism. It meant indifference. Netflix had gambled on her star power and the promise of controversy to drive views. Even her harshest critics assumed people would at least tune in for curiosity's sake, or to mock her. But the reality was undeniable. Audiences didn't even care enough to hate watch. And when people stop talking altogether, that's the real death sentence for a public figure. The critics wasted no time sharpening their knives. One of the harshest came from The Times, which described the show as like being waterboarded with trifle. Social media wasn't any kinder. Memes, parodies, and spoofs exploded online, mocking Meghan's carefully curated image. From scenes of turmeric marshmallows to jam making and designer aprons, the series didn't feel like aspirational TV. It felt like a parody of itself. And instead of laughing with her, people were laughing at her. Some of her diehard fans went to desperate lengths to rewrite the narrative. Incredibly, there were even photoshopped Netflix top 10 charts circulating online, designed to make it look like Love, Meghan was thriving. But the truth was too obvious to disguise. That kind of delusion didn't just look sad. It revealed a fan base in collapse, clinging to an image that no longer exists. At the core of the failure is Meghan's crumbling brand. Once seen as polished, mysterious, even intriguing, her public persona now feels hollow. People see through the perfectly lit kitchens, the scripted smiles, the Pinterest-style quotes. Instead of feeling relatable, it comes off as staged and detached from reality. And when an audience feels that disconnect, they tune out. Meghan isn't Martha Stewart, and she certainly isn't Taylor Swift, who manages to reinvent herself constantly while still feeling genuine. In fact, Meghan's team even tried to deflect blame onto Taylor Swift, pointing to the pop star's surprise engagement to Travis Kelce as the reason the Netflix series got overlooked. But that argument only highlighted the weakness of the show. If a single celebrity headline can derail your entire project, the project was never strong to begin with. Swift's news didn't steal Meghan's thunder, because there was no thunder to begin with. What makes this collapse so remarkable is that Meghan and Harry once managed to spin even their smallest wins into headlines. A podcast award, a streaming deal, no matter how minor, the Sussex PR machine made sure it looked like a victory. But this time, there was no spin left to be had. No headlines, no trending lists, just silence. And in Hollywood, silence is the loudest failure of all. The deeper problem is tone. At a time when audiences are craving raw authenticity, With Love, Meghan delivered sterilized perfection. Instead of inspiring, it came across as irritating, especially for working mothers who found the portrayal not only detached but borderline offensive. The message was clear. If this is Meghan's version of relatable, then people aren't buying it. And Netflix doesn't play charity. When they signed Harry and Meghan to that multi-million-dollar deal, the expectation was results, not vanity projects. But so far, the track record is disastrous. The documentaries underperformed. The animated series was canceled before launch. And now with Love, Meghan has been quietly laid to rest in Netflix's graveyard of forgettable content. There's an old Hollywood saying, you're only as good as your last hit. For Meghan, that's a problem. Because since leaving the palace, she hasn't had a single one. Every new project feels like a personal indulgence rather than an authentic attempt to connect with people. And the numbers confirm it. What was marketed as a lifestyle brand for the masses has instead become a self-indulgent hobby no one asked for. Even Peppa Pig is outperforming her. Literally. And that's the most baffling part. Meghan had every advantage: a built-in global spotlight, endless headlines, the financial support of the world's biggest streaming service. And still, the show tanked. That kind of failure doesn't just happen by accident. It happens when you ignore what audiences really want and insist they'll accept a glossy illusion instead. Audiences are tired of the Meghan Markle machine, the victim narratives, the polished but insincere interviews, the staged vulnerability. What they want is honesty, humor, flaws, chaos, something real. Instead, they got jam making in a spotless kitchen with motivational quotes dressed up as wisdom. Far from aspirational, it came across as insulting. As one PR analyst bluntly put it, you can't spin your way out of this. The numbers don't lie, views don't lie, and no curated dinner party can cover up the reality. Meghan simply isn't connecting with people anymore. She had a chance to lean into imperfection, to laugh at herself, to show something real. Instead, she doubled down on a stiff, overproduced version of herself that audiences rejected. Her team's insistence on blaming Taylor Swift only makes the contrast sharper. Swift has spent over a decade mastering influence, releasing surprise albums, dropping cryptic clues, and keeping the world guessing. That's what cultural power looks like. Meghan's failure wasn't because Taylor got engaged. It's because the world never cared enough to watch in the first place. Behind the scenes, Meghan's fan base and PR squad are scrambling harder than ever. Leaks, social media campaigns, whispered stories to the press, all designed to shift the narrative. But the cracks are too wide now. This isn't about one series failing. It's about a pattern. From Spotify to Netflix, nearly every major partner has either cut ties or quietly distanced themselves. And that kind of retreat isn't coincidence. It's exhaustion. What makes this irony so sharp is Meghan's earlier complaint, that the royal family never let her be her true, authentic self. But now, with total freedom to create whatever she wants, the world is more disinterested than ever. Maybe the palace wasn't the obstacle. Maybe the issue is that Meghan's idea of authenticity simply doesn't resonate. Meanwhile, Prince William has been watching this all unfold, and insiders say he's not impressed. While Harry and Meghan stumble from one failed media project to the next, William has kept his focus on the long game. But behind the palace gates, there's mounting tension, not just between William and Harry, but between William and King Charles himself. William's stance is clear. Harry can't simply waltz back into the royal fold without paying a price. To William, betrayal has consequences. Harry aired the family's dirty laundry, sold its drama to the highest bidder, and damaged the monarchy's credibility. A handshake or photo op now would instantly boost Harry's standing, undoing years of effort to protect the crown. For William, this isn't personal anymore. It's strategy. The monarchy can't afford another blow. King Charles, however, is torn. As both a father and a monarch, he wants reconciliation. His instinct has always been to smooth things over, whether quietly allowing Prince Andrew to resurface or considering meetings with Harry. But to William, that's weakness. He believes his father's eagerness to play diplomat puts the entire institution at risk. This isn't just generational, it's emotional. William grew up scarred by Diana's death, by chaos, by instability. For him, duty is survival. He's built the stable, grounded family life he never had, and when he sees Harry monetizing royal drama, it doesn't just frustrate him. It feels like a betrayal of everything he's worked for. Palace insiders describe William and Charles's relationship as cold, formal, even tense. They rarely speak directly. During William and Kate's recent trip to Balmoral, Charles kept his distance, staying in another residence entirely. That silence spoke louder than words. Adding fuel to the fire is a debate within the monarchy itself. William wants modernization, a streamlined, relevant institution fit for the times. Charles clings to tradition, uniforms, ceremony, hierarchy. Friends of William say he finds his father's obsession with pageantry outdated, almost laughable. So when rumors surface of Harry seeking a meeting with Charles, William sees it as a trap. A single photo of Harry and the king together would be spun as reconciliation. Suddenly, the man who publicly accused his family of racism and cruelty would appear back in the fold. William refuses to let that happen, not without accountability, not without a public apology. What we're watching isn't just a family feud. It's a struggle for legacy, power, and the future of the monarchy itself. On one side, a king who yearns for peace. On the other, an heir who demands boundaries. And on the outside, a prince who keeps selling his story to stay relevant. For William, the message is simple. No more second chances, no more PR redemption arcs. If Harry wants back in, he has to earn it. And this time, Meghan can't stage manage that comeback. Not even with a Netflix budget.